Wesley Wilders. Wesley, good afternoon.
Good day, sir. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, likewise, Wesley. And in fact, it's just over a year since the attack. But in July last, your sister contacted us about medical issues that she was campaigning to help you with, in terms of hospitals and various procedures that were awaiting. Wesley, I know you're now in a position to talk, but have the medical issues that you were awaiting attention for, have they been dealt with?
Very much so. I've gotten great help from the local brain injury unit team here in Sligo.
Right.
That's just one part of the many helpings I've had with the getting better. The main thing I'm working on now is my right arm and left leg, or right leg, because when you hurt the left side of your brain, the right side of your body is affected and so on.
Yeah, because when Rose contacted us, it was at the beginning of July actually, and she was an incredible description she gave of what happened to you when you were a good Samaritan. I know it's extraordinarily difficult given the head injury, but can you remember what happened, Wesley?
I can only recall upon stories of what happened, because for the first 2 months after my coma, I have no recollection of what happened during those 2 months even. What happened was I went on a night out with a friend of mine named Daniel McGlynn, a lovely man. We went to a local hostel area and met a bunch of tourists from America.
Right.
And we decided to bring them on a pub crawl, show them around.
This is in Galway, yeah.
Yeah, in Galway. Get them out and socialise, and not afraid of, as some people can be as tourists in new areas. And I insisted that we go back to my then apartment in Galway for some after pub drinks and more socialising and so on. And me and a lady named Marie Gazzetti McBee were walking back to my place ahead, and we stumbled across a woman being harassed by two men. Yeah. And we stood there for about 2 or 3 minutes waiting to see if anyone else walking by would intervene, as I'm quite a small and petite man. It was just off Eyre Square. Lots of people walked by and just kind of kept walking, so we intervened. I tried to distract and calm the two gentlemen down, and then one of them hit me. I fell, and on some raised concrete, cracked my skull.
And what, it was one of those a punch, was it?
Just a simple punch in the face.
Wow.
And again, I'm quite small and petite. You kind of pushed me and I would have fell. And that's what cracked my skull. And my brother-in-law, when he got the call, came straight to see me, and I was bleeding from my nose, my mouth, my ears, everywhere.
And you also want to say it was October the 7th last year. What day of the week was it? Was it a weekend night?
Oh, I do not recall exactly what day it was.
Okay, it was October the 7th, because I know you're also looking for the nurse that came to your aid. Isn't that correct?
There was, I believe. I was told by the Gardaí, a lovely lady. I think her name was Tara. I'm not very good with names. Tara's the lovely Gardaí inspector in Galway, who has been nothing but a delight in the investigation and the proceeding court case with the gentleman who assaulted me.
Yeah.
She told me there was a nurse walking by and helped with first aid. Her and my American friend Marie, covered my head with scarves and clothing to detract the bleeding.
And it was quite obvious to your family and the medics at this stage that you were in serious, serious difficulty because of this punch and hitting the ground and hitting your head. Isn't that correct? It was.
Yeah, every night for a fortnight I was in a coma, and every night they were told most likely I would not wake up, and if I do wake up, I will be essentially, the bad term is, a vegetable.
So they were told to say goodbye to you every night if they were going home.
pretty much, or even just being there. And they said, and at any moment, my body can just give way.
Okay, so how long were you in the coma for?
2 weeks.
Okay. And what do you remember after that, Wesley?
I recall nothing at all except in the start of December last year, I demanded that I can go home as I was weighed 7 stone, which is mad because I'm usually 11 stone.
Yeah.
I demanded to go home, and the moment I stepped foot in my home house, that's the first thing I remember.
Okay, and it just strikes me, there's photographs today, obviously all over the newspapers, of that savage attack on that referee, and he was attacked, they aimed at his face as well. Then a whole series of operations, is it? You had to go through?
Just two. One, they decided to remove a quarter of my skull.
Yeah.
And then I was 3/4 of a skull walking around Sligo for many months until September of this year. I got it replaced.
And that was the campaign by you, well, you as well, but your family. I say that was the email from your sister in July, looking for that date for that operation. Thankfully, it's now happened. So, how are you today, Wesley? What is the effects at the moment of the horrific attack, and what are, insofar as anyone can say, the long-term effects? But at the moment, what are the effects of the attack?
A severe boredom insists upon me, as I've worked many years in beautiful pubs like McGargle's pub. I worked a bit in Swagman for a couple of weeks years ago, and I was working happily in Busker Brands in Galway. That's why I was living there.
Yeah.
So yeah, not working is slowly but surely driving me nuts with boredom. And sorry, go on.
Things like memory, concentration.
Yep, not as acute as it used to be. I'm not good with names. I'm good with faces. I don't recall names very well.
Mm-hmm.
My right hand, not being able to write my own name is incredibly frustrating.
And when you woke up from the coma, what do you remember? What were the effects then, Wesley?
Well, I'm just told what happened. I woke up and couldn't see for many, many days. I couldn't really speak. At one stage, my friend Brian Colley, who said to say hello, he's a huge fan of your station. He was living in Spain at the time, and I called him, and apparently, because he had no idea the full story of what happened and if I was okay, and he answered the phone and in my very high-pitched voice at the time said, "Hey, it's me," and he went white in the face. He couldn't believe it. That's, again, what I'm told. I don't recall anything in the first 2 months of waking up.
And what's ahead of you now? And do you have any more surgical needs at this stage?
Nope. Once the titanium plate was put into my skull, that's pretty much it then. Unless it gets infected, that would be another surgery to remove it. Then you have to wait another couple of months before you can reattach it. Luckily, that didn't happen.
And you say, is it that you are not allowed to work? Is that it, Wesley?
Well, technically, before I had the surgery in September this year, I had a quarter of my skull was missing. You could literally poke me in the brain. So if I had fallen at any workplace, they wouldn't be insured because, a fall could have possibly killed me. Of course.
But is there a prospect that you might be able to go back to work?
I feel like I could go back to work now. I'm just going to find the work first,
Okay, would you go back to bar work, customer work like that?
Oh, I adore customer work. Anything to do with customers, sales, or bartending, I always loved it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go back to work at this stage?
Yeah, I do.
Because you've great experience. You've great experience as a barman, as you say, you loved it.
Yeah. I'd adore going back to work in the bartending kind of world. But I also the reason I was working in Busker Browns was to save up some money to buy a car and go travelling to Spain. That was my initial plan upon living in Galway.
So the man who attacked you when you went to try and protect those two women that he was harassing, the man who attacked you is called Sultan Sarumai. How soon afterwards do you know, Wesley, was he arrested?
He was arrested at 5 a.m. the same night. He assaulted me, and by that stage he was extraordinarily drunk, so the Gardaí at the time could not interview him and ask him what happened. And at 11 a.m. that next morning, he was sober, and they interviewed him and asked him what happened. And he said, first of all, that it wasn't him, nothing to do with him, he wasn't there. The second interview, he said he was there, and I assaulted him first. And then by his third interview, he realised that he couldn't lie no longer and admitted guilt.
And also, it emerged that he was involved. I'm looking yesterday, Sunday World. He was involved in a separate violent incident near Supermax earlier that evening.
Yes, he was caught on camera. The Gardaí thought that might have been me. That might have been the assault.
Okay, so when the trial was on, you were obviously at the trial. Did he say anything to you, Wesley?
He just said when I went up to do my statement, when I was walking back to my viewing area, sitting down, I walked past him and he said, "I'm sorry." That's it.
What was his tone? Did it sound? Was he crying when he said that? Given what he inflicted on your life?
No, I don't imagine he's very emotionally sympathetic towards what he done.
Did you say anything? Did you say anything back to him?
Oh God, no! I would have. I would have been. I've been arrested for verbal assault.
Okay. Wow. By the way, Wesley, given what happened, would you intervene again if you saw? I think I know the answer. Looking at you there, or here listening to you, would you intervene again if you saw two women being harassed that way?
It was one woman and it was two men.
Two men. Sorry, even. Yeah.
No, it's all right. It's all right. And yes, of course, I insist upon it, and everyone else to also do it. If someone is being harassed or assaulted, or there's a chance that person could be harassed or assaulted, don't go in fighting or looking for a fight, but just try to calm the situation down. Try to intervene in some way, shape, or form, because it could have been that poor lady got punched that night.
Yeah.
Same thing could happen to her, you know.
And is there, well, hopefully people listening to you and seeing the photographs in yesterday's Sunday World, hopefully anyone who thinks, any young men especially, who think of this, of punching somebody, the catastrophic possibilities are beyond frightening at this stage, given what you went through. Beyond frightening.
Yep.
And too many young men resort to their fists as well. So Wesley, you're based in Sligo.
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully, if that nurse, you don't know the Gardaí didn't get the name of the nurse who came upon the catastrophe and helped you, obviously critically at an early stage. But it was in Galway. It was October 7th last year, and you've never heard from that nurse. You've never been able to contact her, but she probably may not know that you wish to thank her.
I very much do.
Okay, and would you wish to get a job?
Very much so. Yes. If anyone's listening that are hiring, my name is Wesley Wilders. Hit me up on Facebook. I will work and do anything. But
you're an experienced barman.
Very much so. Many years. Yeah, probably 8 years.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. And you've worked in a number of very, very busy pubs. I hasten to add, Wesley. Is your? I know you also wanted to thank your doctor in Beaumont.
Yeah, Dr. Mohammed Sattar is. He's a life-changing man.
Okay.
Meeting him, speaking to him, seeing him smile is beyond. I can't imagine meeting anyone like that again in the future. If you even have a coffee with him, it's adorable, it's lovely, it's such an experience. If you Google him, it'll give give some heart-wrenching story, and the fact he can still be such a life-saving gentleman is unreal.
Okay. His name again is Dr.
Mohammed Sattar.
Dr. Mohammed Sattar, based in Beaumont. Well, that's very, very genuine words you just said about him there. Dr. Mohammed Sattar, based on Beaumont. Are you finished with hospital appointments at this stage, or will they go on?
I have to go back up with the man just mentioned in Beaumont on, I think, the 15th of December.
Okay.
Just for a checkup, double check everything's going okay.
All right. Wesley, I can see there people really sorry that this was inflicted on you, as you were being a good Samaritan. And it's over a year ago, and having such an impact on your life. I hope from now, it's a long, long time since it happened, and you've been through it. You've been through the mill, to say the least. But I hope from now things will begin to look up. As you say, medically, you couldn't thank the Beaumont and indeed that doctor more. And hopefully you'll be able to get a job very, very soon. And as you say, what affects you most, you said the boredom, and that you won't be bored. And I suspect you're very good with people as well. So hopefully you'll get back to that end of the world very, very soon. Wesley Wilders. Wesley, thanks indeed. And kind regards to your family and your sister Rose, who first contacted us. That's Wesley Wilders. Thanks, Wesley.